I will now call the July 20th, 2015 Blue Springs City Council meeting to order. If you would stand with me, observe a moment of silence, and I will lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. I want to welcome you in attendance as well as those that might listen to the audio at a later time period. There is a change if you want to renumber the agenda. It's been a request to move items 10, 11, and 12 right after item 3, which is the consent agenda. It's items 10, 11, and 12 will become item 4, 5, and 6. And you can tell that we did not have a council meeting on July 6th. And if you don't believe it, look at my book tonight. There's a lot of stuff that got put on tonight's agenda, so we're going to pay for having that time off. Get ready. Next, we have the consent agenda. There are items that need to be pulled. If not, I accept a motion for approval.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Quibell?
Aye.
Councilman Levacy?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Culpepper?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously.
Next, we have, which would become the new item number 4, is a public hearing on Fall Creek Community Improvement District.
Mayor, the city has the following exhibit to enter into the record. City Council information form dated June 24th, 2015 from Assistant City Administrator Christine Cates. Notice of public hearing is published in the Examiner on July 7th and July 14th, 2015, and notice of public hearing to property owners of record within the Fall Creek CID. This is all we have to offer for the record.
All right, thank you. Who do we go to on behalf of the city?
Christine or Kurt Peterson. Have the applicant come forward, Your Honor.
Okay. The applicant, would you come forward, please, and be sworn in?
Good evening, Mayor.
Evening.
Raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear the testimony about you in this case to be true, so help you God.
I do. Mayor Kurt Peterson with the Polsinelli Law Firm, 6201 College Boulevard, Overland Park, Kansas. Here on behalf of the applicant here, being the Community Improvement District, specifically the Mall at Fall Creek Community Improvement District. There's a lot of history here, Mayor. I know many on the council, if not everyone, has some level, if not a lot, of knowledge of the history of this Community Improvement District and the accompanying tax increment financing district. Really, tonight it's a fairly straightforward request by the petitioners, the 4 out of 5 property owners at the Mall of Fall Creek, and it is one that we would consider and adopt an amendment to the current CID petition, and second of all, an amendment to the cooperative agreement between the Community Improvement District and the city. And the purpose for both of those, and this is the only purpose, is to allow the Community Improvement District to take its current CID bonds that are outstanding and replace them or refinance them with a loan from a private bank, Security Bank. This would have no fiscal impact to the city. There'd be no guarantee by any public or private entity at all. This is simply extending out the time as we do a lot of times with refinancing things, and that's really the extent of it, Mayor, but I'd be happy to answer any questions about it.
Are there any questions from the council to Mr. Peterson? Seeing none. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in support of? In support of? In opposition to? Opposition to? Closes public hearing. Next, we have the introduction and reading of Bill 4379. Anybody like to introduce it?
I'll introduce it, Your Honor.
Okay.
First reading of Bill number 4379, an ordinance approving the First Amendment to the First Amended and Restated Petition to establish a Fall Creek Community Improvement District.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Second reading of Bill number 4379, an ordinance approving the First Amendment to the First Amended and Restated Petition to establish the Fall Creek Community Improvement District.
Move the bill be approved on its second reading and assign the appropriate ordinance number.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Levesey?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Culpepper? Aye. Councilman Quibell?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously, given ordinance number 4548.
Next, we have an introduction and reading of Bill 4380.
I introduce it, Your Honor.
Great.
First reading of Bill number 4380, an ordinance approving the First Amendment to the Cooperative Agreement between the City of Blue Springs, Missouri and Fall Creek Community Improvement District and authorizing the city administrator to execute the agreement.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Second reading of Bill number 4380, an ordinance approving the First Amendment to the Cooperative Agreement between the City of Blue Springs, Missouri and Fall Creek Community Improvement District and authorizing the city administrator to execute the agreement.
Move the bill be approved on its second reading and assign the appropriate ordinance
Is there a
number.
second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Culpepper? Aye. Councilman Quibell?
Aye.
Councilman Levesey?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously, given ordinance number 4549.
All right. Thank you so much. Next, we'll go back to the order 4 now becomes 7, and then sequentially we'll follow that logic. We have a presentation of Adams Farm Project. Ms. Gates?
Okay, the next several items on the agenda relate to the Adams Farm project and the financing related to the incentives for this project. As you know, in 2008, the city entered into a redevelopment agreement that provided incentives to Red Development for the Adams Dairy Landing project. This project has added many retail options to the community, along with significant road and infrastructure improvements. In 2009 and 2010, the City Council authorized 2 bond issues to partially reimburse the developer for costs associated with the project, and both of those bond issues included the city's financial backing. It has been the goal of the city and the developer to remove the city's backing of the bonds at the earliest possible opportunity, which is what brings us here tonight. The proposed financing you will be considering will refund the 2 existing bond issues to remove the city's backing and provide additional proceeds to the developer. There's a whole team of people that have been working on this project since last fall, so we're almost 9 months into this particular project. And we have 3 different people that will speak about the different areas of the project. First, we'll have Jeff Haney from Red Development give an update on the project. Then David Martin from Gilmore & Bell has acted along with several others as a legal and bond counsel for this project. And he will walk you through the agenda items you'll be considering. And then Jim Leahy from Stiefel will discuss the structure of the bond financing and the bond market. This will be the first time the city has worked with Stiefel as an underwriter for the bonds. The redevelopment agreement that was originally approved back in 2009 always gave us the option of using one of 2 underwriters. And so in order to accomplish the goals that we had outlined for this bond issue, Stiefel has been helping with us to get that done. So, Jeff, would you like to get started?
Are there any questions in this case from the council before we go to Jeff? Seeing none? Okay. Jeff, you're up.
Let me get that on the slide.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Jeff Haney with Red Development. Very pleased to be here tonight. Thank you, Christine, for providing us with the little lead in there. We've got a little quick update for you on the overall project. Sorry, I didn't click into the slideshow. And as Christine said, we have a group here tonight with the development. It's Eric Mann, who helped me with the PowerPoint. Thank you, Eric. John Hanson with IRR Corporate Public Finance. He's our financial advisor. Then Charlie Miller and Ralph Beller with Lewis Rice, our attorneys on the project. I think everyone's very familiar with this project. As Christine said, it started back in 2007, 2008. The outline area in red is what we call Adams Dairy Landing, project that Red was responsible for. Opening a shopping center, and in this time frame was, in my experience, one of the most challenging times ever. We call it the Great Recession, which I find it hard to believe it's been that long ago, but through a lot of effort, which we have to thank you for, we made this a success when a lot of other projects across the country like this failed. And we're very proud of it. We have come a long ways in our time to, I was counting this up today a couple times, and Christine hit on it, but 42 national and regional tenants. Great lineup, very exciting. place for us to own and also for people to enjoy and shop at. We have a few more spaces yet to go, but from the first tenant opening to 2010 till now, we've really plugged along. We've actually reached our space. We have about 515,000 square feet. We're currently at 94% occupancy. We've got 14,000 square feet of leases out for negotiation now with a couple more national tenants. That gets us to 96%. And then of the 14 pad sites, we have 3 more out right now that have negotiations going on. I think some of them have been at the city talking with the Planning Commission and so on. So we're hoping we'll have 3 more pad sites done out there in the very near future. So it's been a long process, but as Christine said, the goal has always been to come here, replace the bonds that have been in place with the city's backing, which really made the project possible at that time, with the work of city staff, Stiefel, all the advisors. We're very pleased to be here tonight to talk about taking it forward and removing the city's backing for that. And that partnership between the city, as I said, without your backing and without your help at that time and tonight, we really would have difficult times, but we're very proud of where it's been. We consider that commercial district an amazing one. There's about 870,000 square feet, including the other tenants, over $220 million in retail sales, which is a huge number. Very proud to be part of that. But if anyone has questions tonight, we'd be happy to answer those, but want to thank the council, staff, all the consultants in the community for supporting our project.
Council, you have any questions of Mr. Haney? Certainly, I'm really happy, and I'm certain everybody else is happy to be able to have those retail stores in Blue Springs, because one of the problems we were facing until this happened is something that I commonly call sales tax leakage. And so Blue Springs residents can now actually spend their money in Blue Springs, which help the city fund those basic essential needs that every city need to provide for citizens. And you can buy whatever you need pretty much in Blue Springs, except my seafood restaurant, and I'm still waiting for that.
I expected that comment. and trust me, as hard as we've worked to bring what we have there now, we have not stopped. We won't do that, and we hear you. But there's a lot of good stories out there, so that always helps.
Yes. Thank you so much. So who's up next? David? Okay.
Hey, my name is David Martin. I'm with the Gilmore & Bell Law Firm. I and my partner now, Sid Douglas, have served as bond counsel on this transaction so far and will until the close of the series of bonds that we'll be discussing tonight. The purpose of the package of agenda items that involves 4 different ordinances with respect to the Adams Dairy Landing transaction is to basically cash out the developer for the remaining reimbursable project costs under the TIF contract, which was reimbursable hard costs of approximately $22 million, and then interest carry costs agreed to by city staff and the developer based on an interest carry calculation under the TIF contract of an additional $6.8 million. And to do that through the issuance of a few series of bonds, while at the same time removing, as was mentioned, both the city's supplemental TIF obligation and the requirement that there be an annual appropriation backing for the bonds. So in order to do that, we have 4 ordinances and a public hearing with respect to CID expansion that's being put before the council tonight. The purpose of the hearing and the first ordinance with respect to CID expansion is when we got into this project and started looking at the available funds that would be produced by the proposed marketing of CID special assessment bonds, together with the amounts that were available already as collected special assessments, that ended up being quite a bit more than had been certified and budgeted as CID reimbursable project costs. We had projects that could have been reimbursed, they just weren't planned at the outset. And so in order to bring those within the purview of a CID reimbursable project cost, we needed to bring about 2,000 linear feet of R.D. Mize Road into the CID so that it could be reimbursed from that source, as opposed to its original reimbursement source, which was the city supplemental TIF. So the purpose of the ordinance is the expansion. There's no additional project costs that are being added. We're just altering the source of repayment for that component. The second ordinance that's being considered is to revise the TIF contract, which is now in a first amended TIF contract with an amendment to that first amendment and replace it with a second amended and restated TIF contract, which does a number of things. It updates the items that were, I guess, forward-looking at the time, construction of the project and so forth, that have now occurred, and notes that they have occurred and it's no longer an obligation to complete those items. It updates the TIF budget in a manner that allows us to move items back and forth between TIF reimbursable project costs, the supplemental TIF, which we're now eliminating, and TDD and CID expenses so that we can better balance our reimbursable project cost certification with our available funds from those specific sources. And it also cuts out all of the references to the supplemental TIF and also the annual appropriation backing. Then we have two bond ordinances. This transaction has been split into two sides for tax purposes. Since the IRS looks at a special assessment in this context as a private payment, and we have a lot of private use of the project, we were unable to meld this into one issuance because that would have caused the greater issuance to be issued on a tax exempt or a taxable basis rather, as opposed to tax exempt. So in order to retain the lion's share of this issuance on a tax exempt basis, we split the two sources of revenues, and so we have a tax exempt series that's going to be marketed by Stiefel, and that series is going to be backed by tax increment financing and transportation development revenues. Then we have a subordinate developer bond, which is going to be issued directly to the developer, that's going to bring up the rest of the reimbursement that we can't get from the marketed bonds because we don't have the capacity at the coverage ratios that Stiefel's comfortable marketing. We're going to have a completely separate series of bond documents then for the special assessments, which is going to produce about $4 million of reimbursement on that side. So there will be two complete sets of documents, one with respect to the TIF TDD side, and then there's another ordinance that's authorizing a completely different set of documents for the CID special assessment side. Does anyone have any questions? Was I effectively confusing?
Okay, are there any questions of Mr. Martin from council? Councilman Fowler.
Yeah, this, I'll direct it to Mr. Martin, but also this may be city staff a little bit. I guess in the foreseeable future, will the CID sales tax ever have to be activated for any repayment of bonds? Is there any plans on that whatsoever?
It is not included in the current package, and I don't believe that there's any anticipation that that will occur.
Good to hear.
When we put this together, that was one of the conditions that we wanted to have met for this bond issue. Take the city's backing off and not in any way trigger the CID sales tax and to eliminate the city supplemental tax.
Good.
City supplemental tax.
Good to hear. And then I guess the payoff dates for these bonds, or when the TIF collapses and the CID, TDD, or what are those dates? Are they changing at all, or?
It's going to be the same as it was
Pardon me for a second. Mr. Martin, can you raise those microphones up a little bit so we can hear you? There you go.
Can you hear me now?
It's better.
It's still a variety of dates based on when the particular elements were implemented. So it's 2031, the tax increment financing falls off. In 2019, the Home Depot and Walmart TDD components fall off, their sales taxes fall off. 2038 is the Adams Farm TDD, and so the TIF TDD side will be completely wrapped up with respect to collection of revenues by 2038. I believe we're going to have a final payment in 2039 after those revenues are collected. And then on the CID special assessment side, it's 2045 is the projected final amortization of those bonds.
For the CID?
Yes.
Okay.
And those are the same dates from the original approval. Those dates have not changed.
Okay. And those dates could change if revenues exceed projections. They could come sooner.
Shorten the time frame.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the maximum maturities.
Right. Are we optimistic on any of the ones that they're projecting pay off early?
Yes, we're always optimistic.
Okay.
But we're planning for the long end of that.
Okay. All right. Good discussion. Thank you. That's all I have.
You know, if we go to that 2038 date, I'll be 93. So I'm any other questions of Mr. Martin? Seeing none, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
And I think we have one more speaker. Mr. Leahy.
Good evening. Jim Leahy with Stiefel Nicholas and Company. Very, very pleased to be here this evening and review the bond issue. Many of the points about the issue have just been mentioned, but if I could add a few points, it might be helpful. As was just explained by David, there are two bond issues that will be issued. One's tax exempt, one's taxable. And I want to kind of address the question you just asked, if I could start with that. While it's fresh in my mind, you asked about the projected payoff dates of those bonds. David gave, as he indicated, the maximum payoffs. It's projected to pay off sooner than that. And I want to start with how are we projecting? Stiefel's not in the business of projecting. We're an underwriter. But the city retained GAI consultants to work with the city and the entire team to look at the history of this development. And so we have some good historical data to work with. And some of the newer retailers that opened in more last year or so, we don't have as much data there. So the projections project out the revenues that would be available for debt service, the TDD revenues, the tax increment revenues, and of course the CID assessments. And that's the basis of sizing the bond issue, based on that on current interest rates. But I wanted to just kind of address the point that you were mentioning. The projected payoff of the TIF bonds is June of 2028. So, but the maximum, as was indicated, those go out to June of 39. Mm-hmm. And even though the Walmart and the Home Depot TDDs go away in 2019, we have the other TDD, the bigger TDD, and the TIF that run. And so if we only get 77% of projected revenues, then the bonds would go all the way to 2039. That was the point I was making. To give you an idea about market conditions, some of you may wonder, the city's not backing these bonds. These are non-rated bonds secured only by the pledged revenues. To give you an idea of where we think interest rates are if we were pricing today, we would have 3 bonds with interest rates. We call them term bonds. And those bonds would have interest rates of 3.25%, 4.25%, and 5.25% in today's market. Keep in mind those are non-rated bonds, pledged, as I just said, only by the revenues, and no backing from the city or anybody else. And those are the interest rates we're contemplating right now. Hopefully they'll be a little bit better, but the market remains very strong. We're pricing some similar bonds this week on Thursday. We'll have a pretty good indication of what the market is on that day. But from what we've seen in recent weeks on these types of bonds, and every one of these projects has their own personality and their own characteristics, but we would typically see there's about $38 million of the tax-exempt bonds. We would expect orders for probably 200 or 300 million. So that's an advantage for you, because your objective is to get this paid off as quickly as possible, and the way we do that is have the lowest interest rates as we can. So if in fact we call it being oversubscribed, more buyers than there are bonds. If in fact that happens, what we'll do is keep lowering the interest rates till we find the optimal level. Our job is to get the lowest interest rate for you, and we're going to do our best to do that. But if our plan right now is to print the offering documents that David mentioned a few minutes ago. There are 2 of them, and we would print those on Wednesday. That begins the marketing period when we actually begin telling the world about these bonds. And that's the document that bondholders use to understand the project and how the bonds would work. If our then plan is we start marketing on Wednesday the 22nd, and we would lock in the interest rates. We call it pricing the bonds. Size it, lock in the interest rates on August the 8th. And then closing would occur on August the 18th. That's pretty much our schedule. It's been a pleasure. I just would say, may not have the opportunity to meet with all of you again. I really appreciate the opportunity to work with all of you. It's been great working with this team over here, and the city has been awesome to deal with. So I've heard a lot of things about the city over the years and never had the chance to work with you. So it's you should be very proud of what you have, the project, and how you manage your affairs. So that's the schedule. That's a little bit of overview in the bonds. I'd be happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Are there any questions, Mr. Leahy, by council?
Just a quick one, Your Honor.
Councilman.
You kind of mentioned the timing of it, and I know just the Fed has kind of changed their forecast on interest rates long term. If this was put off by 6 months, does that affect the interest rate that we'd be paying on these bonds? If interest rates do go up?
I can't. Oh, if interest rates go up, if that were to occur, yes, that would affect it. And I'm sure that if you interviewed all of you and those who are sitting in the audience here, we all would have our opinions about what we think might happen to interest rates. Most of us think interest rates are going to go up. There are several meetings of the Fed, one of which is very critical in September, and it could very well be that interest rates go up then. What we're seeing, some people believe interest rates are going to go up, and so they wouldn't be interested in buying these bonds right now because they want to see what happens. So, but based on our experiences in recent, as I said earlier, recent weeks and months, we think there's going to be a strong demand for these bonds. Keep in mind who we sell these bonds to. It's the full spectrum of purchasers. It's individuals like those in this room. It's banks, it's funds, it's institutions. So it's all those spectrum. And we create competition for the bonds, and it's that competition that actually drives down the rate. So to answer your question, I don't know what's going to happen with interest rates, but if the Fed were to make those moves, increase rates, yes, it would most likely have a negative impact on these bonds.
Sounds like good timing, man. We can get it done.
Councilman Carter?
I'm going to jump into the deep end of finance here, which means I'm out of my depth entirely. But we are removing the city backing from the bonds, right? What's the net effect of that? Does it reduce our debt level?
It does. What we'll see with this closing happening in August, we'll see this reflected in our year-end report for 9/30/2014. So we'll see that. And what we'll see is our overall debt issued will increase by the total amount of this bond issue. But because the city's backing is coming off about $30 million of that, our legal debt margin and what our taxpayers are on the hook for per capita will go down.
It sounds like a professional question to me.
And an important
Any other question, Councilman Corbell?
Not so much a question, just an observation. I remember when we were first looking at this back in 2007 timeframe, and there was at least some controversy about, whether it was a good idea or not. The downturn hadn't started, and I remember seeing numbers somewhere in that vicinity of the kind of tax leakage our city was experiencing, and I just want to say it's exciting to sit here tonight and see that this project is pretty much meeting the expectations we had, if not exceeding them, and that we've not only saved our citizens but also captured revenues from outside of the city that heretofore were going to neighboring communities. And I just think it's exciting to see this coming off as a success. And I want to thank everybody that's been involved in that process, and also the fact that we're able to take the city's backing off of this. That was a little bit of a risk and took a lot of discussion as well. And I'm glad to see the success that this project has created. Thank you.
Any other comments? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Leahy.
Thank you.
Does that conclude the presentation? Well, we'll move on to the next item, which is the public hearing on a petition to add properties to the Adams Dairy Landing Community Improvement District.
Mayor, the city has the following exhibits to enter into the record. City Council Resolution Number 45, 2015, authorizing the city administrator to sign the petition to add property to the Adams Dairy Landing Community Improvement District dated June 1, 2015. City Clerk verification of petition to add property to the Adams Dairy Landing Community Improvement District dated June 3, 2015. Minutes of the June 15, 2015 City Council meeting. Notice to City Council the filing the petition to add property. Notice of City Council public hearing sent to property owners on July 1, 2015, and return receipts. Affidavit of publication of first published notice of the CID public hearing published in the Independence Examiner on July 7, 2015. Affidavit of publication for the second published notice of the CID public hearing published in the Independence Examiner on July 14, 2015. City Council information form from Assistant City Administrator Christine Cates dated July 15, 2015, with proposed ordinance approving the petition to add property to the Adams Dairy Landing Community Improvement District. This is all we have to offer.
Okay, Mr. Martin, I guess you're up.
Well, I didn't have anything to add. I just continue with the...
Okay. Well, is there anyone in the audience like to speak in support of? In support of? In opposition to? Opposition to? Close this public hearing. That will take us to the introduction and reading of Bill 4375.
I'll introduce it, Your Honor.
First reading of Bill Number 4375, an ordinance approving the petition to add property to the Adams Dairy Landing Community Improvement District.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
Do a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Second reading of Bill Number 4375, an ordinance approving the petition to add property to the Adams Dairy Landing Community Improvement District.
Move the bill be approved on its second reading and assign the appropriate ordinance number.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Culpepper?
Aye.
Councilman Quavell?
Aye.
Councilman Levesey?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously, given ordinance number 4550.
Next, we have an introduction and reading of Bill 4376.
First reading of Bill Number 4376, an ordinance approving the second amended and restated tax increment financing contract between the City of Blue Springs, Missouri and Blue Springs Development 3, Inc. for the implementation of the Adams Farm Tax Increment Financing Plan.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
So second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Same sign.
Second reading of Bill Number 4376, an ordinance approving the second amended and restated tax increment financing contract between the City of Blue Springs, Missouri and Blue Springs Development 3, Inc. for the implementation of the Adams Farm Tax Increment Financing Plan.
Move the bill be approved on its second reading and assign the appropriate ordinance
Do
number.
a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Culpepper?
Aye.
Councilman Quavell?
Aye.
Councilman Levesey?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously, given ordinance number 4551.
Next, we have introduction and reading of Bill 4377.
Again, I'll introduce it, Your Honor.
First reading of Bill Number 4377, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of special obligation tax increment and special districts refunding and improvement bonds, Adams Farm Project, Series 2015A, and subordinate special obligation tax increment and special districts bonds, Adams Farm Project, Series 2015B of the City of Blue Springs, Missouri, and authorizing certain other actions in connection with the execution and delivery of the bonds.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Same sign.
Second reading of Bill Number 4377, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of special obligation tax increment and special districts refunding and improvement bonds, Adams Farm Project, Series 2015A, and subordinate special obligation tax increment and special districts bonds, Adams Farm Project, Series 2015B of the City of Blue Springs, Missouri, and authorizing certain other actions in connection with the execution and delivery of the bonds.
Move the bill be approved on its second reading and assign the appropriate ordinance number.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Culpepper?
Aye.
Councilman Quabell?
Aye.
Councilman Levesey?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously, given ordinance number 4552.
Next, we have introduction and reading of Bill 4378.
I introduce it, Your Honor.
First reading of Bill Number 4378, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of taxable special obligation special assessment bonds, Adams Farm Project, Series 2015 of the City of Blue Springs, Missouri, and authorizing certain other actions in connection with the execution and delivery of bonds.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Second reading of Bill Number 4378, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of taxable special obligation special assessment bonds, Adams Farm Project, Series 2015 of the City of Blue Springs, Missouri, and authorizing certain other actions in connection with the execution and delivery of the bonds.
Move the bill be approved on its second reading and assign the appropriate ordinance number.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Quavell?
Aye.
Councilman Levesey?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Culpepper?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously, given ordinance number 4553.
Now we're back to the regular numbering on the agenda. Public hearing on North Ridge Cottages.
Mayor, the city has the following exhibits to enter into the record. City Council information form with attachments, staff report with attachments, site location map, affidavit of publication as advertised in the Blue Springs Examiner on May 9th, 2015, application with attachments, 185-foot notification map, names, addresses of property owners within 185 feet of the site, Copy of letter sent to property owners. Title IV, Land Use Section, Blue Springs Code of Ordinances by reference, and 2003 Comprehensive Plan by reference. Exhibit 2 is City Council information form with attachment, staff report with attachment, site location map. Affidavit of publication is advertised in the Blue Springs Examiner on May 9th, 2015. Application with attachments, 185-foot notification map. Names, addresses of property owners within 185 feet of the site. Copy of letter sent to property owners, Title IV, Land Use Section, Blue Springs Code of Ordinances by reference, and 2003 Comprehensive Plan by reference. This is all we have to offer for the record.
Thank you. Ms. Allen, on behalf of the city.
Thank you, Your Honor, and members of the council. Before you is a request for a project called Northridge Cottages. The project is a multifamily, low-density multifamily, planned residential overlay. They're looking to go through a rezoning, as well as look for approval of a PRO, planned residential overlay concept plan. The project is 37 multifamily units, a mix of duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes. Show a site location map, just for orientation's sake. Essentially behind, it's on Northwest Northridge Drive, essentially behind the North Price Chopper and the Point of Hope Church, just south of Northridge Villas, and north of Motel 6 and other properties along Northwest Jefferson Street. As included in your packet, applicant would be for the Planning Commission on Monday, June 22nd. They did receive unanimous recommendation for approval before you this evening on both the rezoning from GB General Business to MF10/PRO, low-density multifamily with a planned residential overlay, as well as the PRO concept plan, again for the 37 units. Both the comprehensive plan and the Unified Development Code are being met with this proposal. We can certainly get into the history if there are any questions of the property, as well as answer any specifics on the project from staff's perspective. Otherwise, we'll defer to the applicant to explain further their proposed project.
Are there any questions from council to Ms. Allen? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Would the applicant come forward and be sworn in? Ms. Allen, could you close that door?
Yes, I do. Steve Warger, offices at 1617 Swift, North Kansas City, Missouri. I'm the consulting engineer on the project. Good evening. With me tonight is Spencer Thompson, attorney and one of the owners of the project, and Mr. Robert Herman, the majority owner of the project. They can answer any questions that I may not be able to help you with. This project is on 5 acres, approximately 13 units, as Mr. Allen said, with 2, 3, and 4. 13 buildings with 2, 3, and 4 units in those buildings. The area there is kind of confined with the 5 acres as far as depth and length, so we chose to do a U-shaped private drive instead of a public drive. The public drive would have required setbacks that we wouldn't have been able to meet to get the density to make it economically feasible. So we're building the private street, the normal 28-foot wide width. We will give a ingress-egress, obviously, for anyone that needs to use that as far as public utilities, fire, private utilities, that type of stuff. We would have 10-foot easements or 15-foot easements either side, and we would have setbacks to the buildings of approximately 25 feet off of that private drive. A few other things with this, it's a senior living facility. We will have a clubhouse that will be located basically in the middle off of Northridge Drive that we'd have there. We'll have walks and trails. Within the site also on the northeast side, we will provide all the required detention. And then in other areas throughout the project, we will have our BMP with rain gardens, that type of thing. The only thing we're asking any exception really on this project is in the northwest corner. And I think on the sketch or on the drawing, it's Unit 17. We're asking for a rear yard setback of 15.6 feet instead of 20 because of where we have the BMPs and trying to meet some of those other density requirements. We're in agreement, or we acknowledge the conditions that were set forth in this project. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions from council? Is age restricted to what, 55, 62?
Yes, 55 and over.
55. And will it be a gated community?
No, sir.
No gated? Okay. All right. Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak in support of? In support of, in opposition to? Opposition to? Close this public hearing. And that will bring us to the introduction and reading of Bill 4381.
I'll introduce it, Your Honor.
First reading of Bill number 4381, an ordinance rezoning property from GB General Business to MF10 PRO, Low Density Multifamily District Planned Residential Overlay.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All same sign?
Second reading of Bill number 4381, an ordinance rezoning property from GB General Business to MF10 PRO, Low Density Multifamily District Planned Residential Overlay.
Move the bill be approved on its second reading and assign the appropriate ordinance number.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Levesey?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Culpepper?
Aye.
Councilman Quibell?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously, given ordinance number 4554.
Next, we have introduction and reading of Bill 4382.
I introduce it, Your Honor.
First reading of Bill number 4382, an ordinance approving the Northridge Cottages Planned Residential Overlay District, PRO Concept Plan.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Councilman Fowler?
Yeah, just for the record, that was a publicly owned street, correct? I know you mentioned it'd be built to public standards, but, or will it be privately owned?
The street will be private.
Okay, so they'll.
The U-shaped street will be private, and we will have an ingress-egress easement over that for access for anybody for.
The home association of the group will realize that they need to take care of snow removal, et cetera?
Yes, sir. That's in the performa.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All same sign?
Second reading of Bill number 4382, an ordinance approving Northridge Cottages Planned Residential Overlay District, PRO Concept Plan.
Move the bill be approved on its second reading and assign the appropriate ordinance number.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Culpepper?
Aye.
Councilman Quibell?
Aye.
Councilman Levesey?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously, given ordinance number 4555.
Next, we have the introduction and reading of Bill 4383.
I'll introduce it, Your Honor.
First reading of Bill number 4383, an ordinance approving final plat for Lone Pine Acres, lots 1 and 2.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All same sign?
Second reading of Bill number 4383, an ordinance approving final plat for Lone Pine Acres, lots 1 and 2.
Move the bill be approved on its second reading and assign the appropriate ordinance number.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Culpepper?
Aye.
Councilman Quibell?
Aye.
Councilman Levesey?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously, given ordinance number 4556.
Next, we have the introduction and reading of Bill 4384.
I'll introduce it, Your Honor.
First reading of Bill number 4384, an ordinance amending Chapter 505, Streets and Sidewalks of the Code of Ordinances, City of Blue Springs, Missouri, by adopting a new Article 6 concerning the use and management of city rights-of-way.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All same sign?
Second reading of Bill number 4384, an ordinance amending Chapter 505, Streets and Sidewalks of the Code of Ordinances, City of Blue Springs, Missouri, by adopting a new Article 6 concerning the use and management of city rights-of-way.
Move the bill be approved on its second reading and assign the appropriate ordinance number.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Culpepper?
Aye.
Councilman Quibell?
Aye.
Councilman Levesey?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously, given ordinance number 4557.
That brings us to mayoral announcements. I'm going to go straight to thoughts to Panda. Tonight's comes from David Frost. Don't aim for success if you want it. Just do what you love and believe in, and it will come naturally. End quote. Visitors, I don't have any visitors' appearance forms. So I will defer to the city attorney for a reading of a motion the council can ratify.
Thank you, Your Honor. The proper motion would be, I move that this body go into closed session pursuant to Section 610.021, subparagraph 1, revised statutes of Missouri for the purpose of having confidential and privileged communications between a governmental body or its representatives and its attorney relating to legal action, causes of action, or litigation involving this body and legal advice, that any votes and records of such session be closed, and that this body stand adjourned at the end of such session.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Councilman Culpepper? Aye. Councilman Quibell?
Aye.
Councilman Levisay?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously.
We're going to take about a 2-3 minute break to allow our visitors to be excused, and then we will go into executive session.